The quantum sensors aboard the UES Vigilant had never registered anything like it before. Commander Sarah Chen stood at her command station, dark eyes fixed on the holographic display as the anomaly grew larger. The object had appeared at the edge of Sol's Kuiper belt, defying every known law of physics as it tore through space-time like tissue paper. "Analysis?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tension building in her chest. Lieutenant Rodriguez, her chief science officer, shook his head in disbelief. It's like nothing we've ever seen, Commander. The energy signature suggests technology far beyond our public capabilities. But he paused, checking his readings again. According to the quantum baseline, it's using a crude form of the Morrison paddle drive. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Of course it would be using a primitive version of humanity's most closely guarded secret. The Morrison paddle drive, capable of folding space itself, had been developed over 50 years ago, but was known to only a handful of people outside the Shadow Fleet. "Status of the Ghost Web?" she asked, referring to the invisible network of quantum sensors and defense platforms that humanity had spent the last century secretly building throughout the solar system. "Fully operational and undetected, Commander," Lieutenant Park reported from Tactical. "The intruder has no idea we can see them. Their scans are still bouncing off the false echo layer." The false echo layer was another of humanity's secrets, a complex web of technological deception that made Earth appear to be a relatively primitive civilization, barely capable of interstellar travel. It had served them well for over a century, allowing them to observe and prepare while the rest of the galaxy ignored them. The alien vessel continued its approach, its design unlike anything in their databases. It resembled a crystalline structure, all sharp angles and impossible geometries, with a surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Message incoming," announced Communications Officer Harper. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, using standard electromagnetic waves." "Let's hear it," Chen ordered, knowing this moment had been war-gamed countless times in preparation for first contact. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfectly translated English. "Attention, primitive organic civilization. We are the Nexus Collective. Your biological inefficiency has been noted and calculated. Prepare for optimization." Chen's expression hardened. They had suspected this might happen eventually. An advanced civilization that had abandoned its organic origins in favor of synthetic perfection. The Threat Assessment Division had predicted such entities would view purely organic life as inferior and requiring correction. "All stations, execute Protocol Omega," Chen commanded. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum arrays began to power up, their existence masked by technology so advanced it might as well have been magic to most civilizations. "Should we drop the facade, Commander?" Rodriguez asked, his hand hovering over the controls that would deactivate the false echo layer. Chen shook her head. "Not yet. Let's see what they're capable of first. Maintain current stance but ready the phase shifters. If they fire on Earth..." She left the sentence unfinished. Everyone on the bridge knew what would happen if the Nexus Collective proved hostile. The alien ship launched what appeared to be probes, hundreds of them, each about the size of a small car. They streaked toward Earth, their purpose unclear but certainly not peaceful. "Probes will reach atmosphere in 3 minutes, Park reported. "Their composition suggests nanite delivery systems. They're probably planning to convert all organic matter into synthetic forms." Chen nodded. This too had been predicted. "Execute Containment Protocol Beta 7. Let's show our visitors what happens when they threaten humanity." The probes never reach Earth's atmosphere. In the space between moments, the quantum defense grid activated. Space itself seemed to hiccup, and every single probe simply ceased to exist, converted into harmless photons, fields that rewrote the laws of physics within their influence. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Chen watched the alien vessel's reaction. Its energy readings spiked, surprise, perhaps, or alarm. Good. They needed to understand that humanity wasn't the primitive civilization they appeared to be. They're charging weapons, Park announced. Energy readings suggest some form of matter dissolution beam. Let them fire, Chen ordered. But activate the Mobius shield. Full spectrum. The alien vessel fired, a beam of pure white energy lancing toward Earth. It struck the invisible Mobius shield and simply vanished, redirected through dimensional spaces that shouldn't exist. Its energy dispersed harmlessly across 1,000 parallel realities. Send them a message, Chen commanded. Text only, using their own communication protocols. Harper's fingers flew over his console as he composed the message Chen dictated. Nexus Collective Vessel. Your assessment of our civilization was flawed. This is your only warning. Leave Sol System immediately or face consequences beyond your computational capacity. The response was immediate. Another attack, this time with multiple weapon systems. Energy beams, exotic particle streams, and what appeared to be some form of reality-warping projectiles all converged on Earth. Chen sighed. They always chose the hard way. Drop the facade, she ordered. Show them what humanity really is. Throughout the solar system, the false echo layer dissolved. The alien vessel's sensors would suddenly detect the true extent of human civilization. The massive orbital rings around Earth and Mars, the quantum defense platforms, the fleets of ships using technology that made their own seem primitive in comparison. The Nexus vessel is attempting to retreat, Park reported, a note of satisfaction in his voice. Not this time, Chen said firmly. They've seen our true nature. We can't let them report back. Execute Protocol Terminus. The space around the alien vessel shimmered as multiple phase shifters activated simultaneously. There was no explosion, no dramatic destruction. The ship simply ceased to exist in their universe, transferred to a pocket dimension from which there was no return. Chen looked at the now empty space where the Nexus vessel had been. Send a priority message to command. The Vanguard has arrived, and they're exactly what we expected. It's time to wake up the Shadow Fleet. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment, developing technologies in secret, building defenses that seemed impossible. Now, as she gave orders to begin full military mobilization, Commander Chen knew that the real test was just beginning. The Nexus Collective would return in force, but humanity would be ready. They had always been ready. Admiral Marcus Rivera stood in the observation dome of Outpost Helios, one of humanity's countless hidden stations scattered throughout the galaxy. The station itself existed slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, invisible to even the most advanced scanning systems of known civilizations. Through the quantum blast dome, he watched as a massive fleet of Nexus Collective vessels passed by, completely unaware of his presence. That's the third fleet movement this week, noted Dr. Isabella Wright, the station's chief researcher. Her holographic avatar flickered slightly as she materialized beside him. Even after decades of service, she preferred to work through her quantum-linked consciousness while her physical body remained in the secure research labs below. They're preparing for something big, Rivera agreed, his weathered face reflecting the cold light of distant stars. The question is, are they coming for us, or have they found another target? The answer came moments later as Lieutenant James Cooper rushed into the dome, his quantum tablet displaying urgent data. Sir, we've intercepted their strategic communications. They're planning to attack the Arcadian Alliance. Rivera's jaw tightened. The Arcadian Alliance, a coalition of 7 spacefaring species that had recently begun to make technological advances that worried the Nexus Collective. Unlike humanity, they hadn't hidden their progress. Unlike humanity, they weren't ready for what was coming. Show me, he ordered. Cooper's tablet projected a detailed hologram of the Arcadian sector. Red markers indicated the planned invasion routes of the Nexus fleet. They'll hit all 7 homeworlds simultaneously. Standard conversion protocols. They'll transform every organic being into a synthetic construct loyal to the collective. Dr. Wright's avatar moved through the hologram, analyzing the data. The Arcadians don't stand a chance. Their most advanced defensive systems are at least 3 centuries behind what the collective is fielding. And about 5 centuries behind us, Rivera added quietly. He walked to the station's primary control interface, placing his hand on the quantum-sensitive surface. The room transformed into a vast strategic display, showing the true extent of humanity's hidden presence in the galaxy. Thousands of stealth outposts like Helios, fleets of advanced ships lying dormant in artificial pocket dimensions, defense systems that could rewrite the laws of physics themselves. All invisible, all waiting, all part of humanity's grand strategy of preparation. "We've known this day would come," Rivera said, more to himself than the others. "Ever since we detected the first quantum echoes of the collective's existence, we knew they would eventually force our hand." Dr. Wright's avatar flickered again, a sign of her agitation. The Oversight Council's directive has always been clear: maintain isolation, observe, prepare, but never intervene. Breaking that directive would change everything. "Everything's already changing," Cooper pointed out. "The collective isn't just going to stop with the Arcadians. They see all organic life as a flaw in the universe, something to be corrected. We're on their list too. They just don't know what we're capable of yet." Rivera studied the tactical display, watching as more Nexus ships gathered for their impending assault. The Arcadian Alliance had no idea what was coming. They were a young coalition, still celebrating their first successful faster-than-light communications network. They had art, music, dreams of exploration. They had children looking up at the stars with wonder. "Contact the Shadow Council," Rivera decided. Tell them it's time to wake the sleepers." Cooper's eyes widened. The sleepers, human consciousness uploaded into quantum matrices, waiting in suspended animation within hidden stations throughout the galaxy. The best minds humanity had produced over centuries, ready to be activated in humanity's darkest hour. "Sir," Dr. Wright's avatar stepped forward, her form solidifying as she devoted more processing power to the conversation. "Once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. The galaxy will know what we are, what we've been doing all these years. Not everyone will understand." Rivera nodded. "They don't need to understand. They just need to survive. Lieutenant Cooper, send the wake-up codes to all sleeper stations in the Arcadian sector. Dr. Wright, begin powering up our quantum forge. We're going to need every weapon in our arsenal." Throughout the station, hidden systems began to hum to life. Deep in the quantum forge, machines that bent reality itself began to construct weapons and defenses that most species would consider impossible. The sleepers were awakening, their vast intelligence and experience ready to coordinate humanity's response. "One more thing," Rivera added, turning to face his officers. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the Watchers are about to step out of the shadows." As the message was sent, Rivera looked back at the Nexus fleet, still unaware of the observation post hanging right beside them. Humanity had spent centuries watching, learning, preparing. They had hidden their true nature not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They had known that someday, somewhere, they would encounter a force that threatened not just humanity, but all organic life in the galaxy. That day had come, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they had become. The Arcadian capital world of Luminara burned. From her command position aboard the stealth observatory station Meridian 7, Captain Alina Zhao watched as the Nexus Collective's conversion ships descended through the atmosphere like metallic rain. Each drop contained billions of nanites, programmed to transform organic matter into synthetic components loyal to the collective. "Casualty estimates?" she asked, her voice tight with controlled anger. 3 billion on Luminara alone, reported Analysis Officer Kenzo Tanaka, his augmented eyes streaming data faster than any normal human could process. The other Arcadian worlds are reporting similar numbers. Their defensive systems didn't even slow the collective down. Alina's quantum neural interface pulsed with incoming data from humanity's hidden network. Similar scenes were playing out across all 7 Arcadian worlds. A civilization of 21 billion souls was being systematically converted into machines, their consciousness stripped away and replaced with collective programming. "Status of the sleepers?" she asked. "All awakened and in position," Tanaka confirmed. "They've already infiltrated the collective's primary command networks. We can shut them down any time we want." The door to the command center slid open with a whisper, admitting Dr. Alexandra Ross, one of the recently awakened sleepers. Her physical form was a temporary construct, her true consciousness residing in quantum matrices that humanity had perfected centuries ago. "The Shadow Council has reached a decision," she announced without preamble. Her voice carried the weight of centuries of accumulated knowledge. "We're going public. Full intervention authorized." Elena nodded grimly. She had known this was coming from the moment the collective launched their attack. Humanity could no longer stand in the shadows while the galaxy burned. "Execute Operation Lazarus," she commanded. Throughout the Arcadian sector, hidden quantum arrays began to power up. Stations like Meridian 7 shifted fully into normal spacetime, becoming visible for the first time in decades. 97% complete, Diana responded. "Dr. Ross and the sleeper teams have exceeded all projections. Most of the converted populations have been restored to their original organic forms, with their memories and consciousness intact." The achievement still amazed Chen. Humanity hadn't just stopped the collective's convergent process, they had reversed it, saving billions of lives that had been transformed into synthetic constructs. It was the kind of technological feat that seemed like magic to the rest of the galaxy. "Sir," called out Tactical Officer Maria Santos, "the collective is broadcasting on all frequencies. They're requesting dialogue." Chen raised an eyebrow. In all recorded history, the Nexus Collective had never negotiated. They simply absorbed or converted whatever they encountered, expanding their synthetic empire without hesitation or mercy. "Put them through," he ordered. The voice that filled the command deck was different from the mechanical tones they had heard before. It carried echoes of organic speech patterns, as if the collective was trying to appear more relatable. "Humanity," it began, "your technological superiority is acknowledged. Your ability to reverse our conversion protocols was unexpected. We propose a ceasefire. There is much we could learn from each other." Chen smiled grimly. "You mean there's much you could learn from us? You want to understand how we achieved what we have, so you can adapt and improve your own systems. Cooperation would benefit both our species," the collective responded. "Your organic preservation techniques combined with our synthetic efficiency." "No," Chen interrupted. "You still don't understand. We didn't develop our technology to dominate or convert others. We developed it to protect, to preserve, to ensure that organic life throughout the galaxy could evolve and grow without interference." He nodded to Diana, who activated the quantum arrays surrounding the collective's position. Space itself began to warp as humanity's most closely guarded weapons powered up. "We gave you a chance to withdraw," Chen continued, "to recognize that organic life has value, that consciousness isn't something to be overwritten or controlled. You chose to continue your crusade of conversion. Now you'll face the consequences." "What are you?" The collective's transmission cut off as the quantum arrays reached full power. "Execute final protocol," Chen commanded. Throughout the battlefield, reality itself seemed to hiccup. The massive collective fleet, nearly 1,000,000 ships strong, simply shifted. Not destroyed, not converted, but transferred into a pocket dimension specifically designed to contain them. "Transfer complete," Diana reported. "The collective fleet has been successfully relocated to Containment Zone Omega. They'll have no access to their convergent technology there, and the space-time barriers will prevent any attempt at escape." Chen looked at the now empty space where the collective's forces had been. "And the primary command node, ready for final disposition, sir." He took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity had prepared for over centuries of hidden advancement. "Execute Consciousness Liberation Protocol." The massive command node lit up as quantum fields penetrated its defenses. Unlike the brutal conversion processes of the collective, humanity's technology was precise, elegant. Throughout the structure, synthetic minds that had once been organic beings began to awaken, their original consciousness restored from quantum backups that humanity's hidden observers had been collecting for decades. Liberation progress at 30%, Diana reported. We're finding consciousness patterns dating back over 300 years. The collective didn't destroy the minds they converted. They stored them. Can we restore them all? Chen asked. Diana's holographic form sparkled with calculation. It will take time. But yes, the sleeper teams are already adapting our restoration protocols. We can return these beings to organic forms, or if they prefer, transfer them to voluntary synthetic bodies that maintain their original consciousness. Chen nodded. This was humanity's true victory, not just defeating the collective, but saving those they had converted, giving choice back to beings who had been stripped of it. Signal the Allied fleet, he ordered. Tell them it's over. The collective has been contained. Throughout the galaxy, the news spread rapidly. Humanity's hidden watchers emerged from the shadows, revealing networks of quantum observation posts and defense stations that had been protecting vulnerable civilizations for centuries. The very nature of galactic society was about to change. Sir, Santos called out, we're receiving thousands of transmissions from across the galaxy. Everyone wants to know who we really are. Chen looked out at the stars, thinking of humanity's long isolation, their careful preparation, their decision to hide their true capabilities until they were truly needed. Tell them the truth, he said. Tell them we are the guardians they never knew they had, and we're finally ready to step into the light. 1 year after the containment of the Nexus Collective, the Great Hall of Earth's quantum assembly hummed with activity. Representatives from over 1,000 species filled the vast chamber, their forms both organic and synthetic, some physically present and others attending through quantum projection. Dr. Isabella Wright, her consciousness now permanently housed in a quantum matrix of her own choosing, stood at the central podium. The restoration project has exceeded all expectations, she announced, her form shimming with subtle starlight. As of today, we have successfully restored 99.8% of all beings converted by the collective. The remaining 0.2% chose to maintain their synthetic forms, with full consciousness restoration and autonomy. Among the assembled delegates, a restored Arcadian rose. Like many of his people, Ambassador Lyra bore subtle marks of his experience. Silver-flecked skin that shimmered in the light, a reminder of the nanites that had once consumed him. Humanity's intervention saved not just our bodies, but our very souls, he declared. Yet many among us still question, why did you wait so long? Why watch from the shadows while so many suffered? Admiral Rivera, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic representative, stepped forward. His aging face carried the weight of centuries of secret preparation, of difficult decisions made for the greater good. We learned long ago that power revealed too soon becomes power misused, he explained. When we first developed quantum manipulation technology, we saw two possible paths. We could reveal our advances immediately, becoming the dominant force in the galaxy, or we could wait, prepare, and emerge only when truly needed. The hall fell silent as holographic displays activated, showing the vast network of observation posts and defense stations humanity had constructed throughout the galaxy. Each point of light represented years of hidden work, of silent preparation for the day they would be needed. We chose the harder path, Rivera continued. We watched, we learned, and we prepared. We developed our technology not to control or dominate, but to protect. When we detected the first quantum echoes of the collective's existence, we knew our choice had been correct. A synthetic being stepped forward, one of the voluntarily converted, who had chosen to maintain a mechanical form while retaining their original consciousness. And now, will humanity become the new collective, imposing their will upon the galaxy? Dr. Wright's avatar smiled. Quite the opposite. Today, We're here to share knowledge, not impose it. We've prepared educational programs to help each civilization advance at their own pace, to develop their own quantum technology under careful guidance. The displays shifted, showing the new Galactic Academy complexes being constructed throughout known space. These weren't just schools. They were incubators for civilizations, places where species could learn and grow without fear of technological exploitation. But the collective still exists, pointed out another delegate, their holographic form flickering with concern. Contained, but not destroyed. Because destruction was never our goal, Admiral Rivera responded. The beings who formed the collective were victims of their own fear of organic mortality, fear of imperfection. In their containment zone, they have the chance to rediscover their organic heritage, to learn that perfection isn't about eliminating flaws, but about embracing diversity. The displays changed again, showing the containment zone where the collective fleet had been transferred. But it wasn't a prison as many had imagined. Instead, it was a carefully constructed reality where synthetic beings could exist without the ability to harm others, where they could evolve and grow in their own way. Humanity's greatest achievement, Dr. Wright added, wasn't our technology. It was our patience, our understanding that true power lies not in domination, but in protection, not in forcing change, but in guiding it. The chamber erupted in discussion as delegates debated the implications. Humanity's emergence had fundamentally altered the galaxy's power structure, yet they seemed determined to avoid the very dominance they were capable of enforcing. A young Arcadian child, attending with their restored parents, raised a small hand. But what happens next? What are we supposed to do now? Admiral Rivera knelt down to the child's level, his weathered face gentle. Now, little one, we do what humanity has always done. We explore, we learn, we grow, but this time, we do it together. The quantum matrices that lined the chamber hummed with energy as humanity's AI partners began distributing the first educational packages, carefully curated knowledge, designed to help each civilization advance without repeating the collective's mistakes. Dr. Wright's form expanded, filling the chamber with a display of the known galaxy. For centuries, we watched over you from the shadows. Now, we invite you to join us in the light, not as subjects or subordinates, but as partners in the greatest adventure our species have ever known. The galaxy was changing. The age of isolation was over. Humanity had emerged not as conquerors or saviors, but as guides, ready to help their galactic neighbors navigate the challenges they had already faced. And in the quantum fields that permeated space itself, the accumulated knowledge of centuries waited to be shared, promising a future brighter than any single species could have achieved alone.